Welcome to another episode of Off the Record with the Tacoma Ledger. We have a great one for you today, the best one we've done. Take it away, Jamenson.
That's for sure. I am with
Ella.
And I'm Jamenson, the editor-in-chief. Ella's one of our writers, and she had a really cool experience that I wish I had. I almost had the experience.
I know.
We were talking about that, I think a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
It would have been super fun. Yeah. But we're talking about the study abroad program. Mm-hmm. It's been around, I think, in Tacoma campus since a little before the pandemic. On and off. How it started, I'm not 100% sure, but I mean...
Me neither. That's okay.
So tell me about the program and what got you interested in going in the first place.
Well, I guess it's maybe a bit of a longer story than some people, but the program I did was called Under the Italian Sun, and it was a film class it was called Cinematic Journeys in Italy, so Italian... travel films centered around travel in Italy. Not all of Italian origin, some American films. And then the other one was about travel in the modern novel, but specifically travel novels about characters having experiences in Italy. So that, and then we had a 2-credit reading class to help make the program full-time so that people could get financial aid. So it was 12 credits. 11 weeks, just the length of a regular quarter. And for 2 of those weeks, we were in Italy, in Rome specifically. Yeah.
That sounds really fun. I'm not gonna lie to you. I wish I would have gone. That would sound, because that's the exact program that I was looking at. When was I looking at it? I think almost a year ago, I was looking at that program. I was doing the research, and I literally almost said yes. Yeah. And I ended up deciding not to go because I was like, it wasn't like the money or anything. It was just kind of, I don't know if I wanted to put the time into it. It seemed like a lot. I have a family, so it's kind of like, I don't know if I can be away from my kids for however long it would be. I'm out of the country, like they're young kids, so it's kind of like, I don't know where my mind would be. I don't know if I'd be able to focus is the thing. Yeah. That's just me, but I'm sure it's still a huge opportunity for people to go. Like, I guess the question I had, because I never went, so I didn't get as far as you did. Did you talk to an advisor to make sure like it lines up with your degree, or what happened there?
Yeah, I should backtrack a little bit because I mentioned I had maybe a longer journey to it than maybe some other people. But I actually, before I was accepted into this program, I was accepted into another program actually through UW Seattle that was in Dublin, and it was a month-long like literature and writing study program that would have been last summer quarter, so like mid-June to mid-July. And it was great, like things were coming together, I got accepted, and then a couple people pulled out of the program, unfortunately. And it just so happened, like, it was just really frustrating timing. It was like 2 or 3 days before a lot of the deadlines for applications for other programs closed. Okay. So it was just like, and it was kind of my last chance to study abroad too, because I'm coming towards the end of my degree and I only have so much wiggle room, credits wise. But I was in Jennifer Myers-Baran, fantastic professor.
Love her. She's great.
Yeah, she's great. That's actually where we sat like really close to each other, I think.
Did we?
We did.
Oh, you have to forgive me. I don't remember that.
That's okay.
You'll put me on blast on the pod?
No, I'm sorry. We can cut that out. We can totally cut that out if you want. And she mentioned...
I'm not going to cut it out.
No, it's fine.
Damn. My bad.
Super candid moment. You never cut those out.
Yeah. And she mentioned... I don't even know if she was necessarily like advertising it to all of us, but she briefly discussed like the program that she was putting together because this was the first time that she was going to run it.
Which class was it? Because I've taken like I've taken like 2 of the classes.
The World Cinema 1960 to.
Ooh, I remember. That's the last one that I took with her. It was a great class, actually.
You interviewed me for a piece that you wrote.
Did! I did. I totally remember.
Sorry, now I'm just really putting you on blast.
Wow, I even interviewed you. Oh my goodness.
No,
I totally remember now.
It's all good.
It tore me apart, but I learned an important lesson. You can't count on anyone.
So, anyways, roundabout, I had like 2 days, and I said, okay, this sounds right up my alley. I really want to go to Italy. I think we were only like week 1 or 2 of that class, but I was like, she seems like a great professor. We ball. Let's do it. I'm not swearing. So it was honestly pretty stressful. Had to turn around like an application really quickly and trying to communicate with the Seattle office and stuff like that. But they made little wiggle room for me. I got a seat, which was awesome. Yeah. And so that's kind of my spiel of sometimes it's a little more complicated than just applying to one. But I'm really glad it worked out the way it did. Yeah.
That's hard because I was making that decision is hard just to go, but then even just like picking where, I think is the hard decision because I was looking on the website and the programs they have ready for 2026 are, well, unfortunately for the winter, 2026 is Japan, but that application is closed now. Yeah. As of right now.
That makes sense.
The ones that are still open are for spring. The programs going to Germany. Mm-hmm. In the summer, they're going to Peru, I don't know, and New Zealand. I don't know if those are 2 separate things or if that's just like, well, that'd be kind of hard to go from Peru to New Zealand, but maybe it's 2 separate things. Yeah. And then in the early fall, they're going to do Bolivia or India is what they're deciding. I saw that, yeah. So applications are open for that. So again, just looking at that list.
It's very exciting.
Like how do you make that decision? Oh, you know what I mean? Like
100%.
So how did you said a little bit you landed on there because it's like, well, the other one fell through. Yeah. And this one went through. But what was really like that thing that pushed you over the edge to be like, yes, I'm going?
I think honestly my point of entry for the program was the film aspect of it. I am a big reader. I love literature, but just by virtue of like what I study, that was kind of my point of entry. And I do really enjoy a lot of Italian cinema. It's like a national cinema. I sound like such a pretentious whatever, but it's what I study and it's something I am really interested in. So I thought it would be a really great opportunity to be able to like deepen my knowledge about that in the actual place where these films that I am like really passionate about have taken place. And I think it is also important to bring up, and I'm sure we will talk about this, even when I was first looking at applying to programs, so when I got accepted into the Dublin program, I was personally never looking at any programs that were longer than a month of being away from home. Yeah. Because I mentioned this when I wrote about it for the paper, but I just, due to like financial reasons, family obligations, and just at that point when I was applying, I didn't feel like I can't be away from my family for 3 months and on top of all my overseas other obligations. Too. Yeah. I just was like, I don't know if I'm just in a place where I can handle that right now. So the longer term ones were always off the table for me. Okay. But thankfully, through all 3 classes, there are a ton of opportunities. For the ones that you brought up were through Tacoma, but through Bothell and Seattle, there's they call them the faculty-led programs, where you take the classes sometimes partially on campus, sometimes all in the location that you're all traveling to together, and you do it with UW professors. Sorry, I think I kind of lost track of the question when I was answering that. But landed on that because of the subject matter and the location and the like time frame were all ideal for what I was looking for.
Not only going to the countries, these different countries sound interesting, but so a lot of them have specific things that they're going to go do there. Like I remember when I was originally looking at it, they had one that they were going to go to Canada, but it was more like of a scientific one, and they were going to study water or
I saw that one too,
something like that. And then I remember there was an arts one that was going to Africa, and that one was like the longer one. You'd be out there, I think almost a whole quarter, if I remember right. You'd be out there, but you would go to like 3 separate places, and the description was like if I would have gone, or the students that went would have gotten to go to certain villages and see art from the villages, and even create art with some of the villagers, which I thought was really cool. To experience that. So yeah, I guess it would depend on your degree, but even then, I mean, even the experience, even if it's not in your degree, I mean, sounds great.
Yeah, I mean, if you're able to take those credits, if you can figure out how to use them, or if you don't care about credits and you just want to go school, like,
for a
sure,
cool experience,
why not?
And that brings me to this thing where it's like, what prior research did you do to prepare to go before? Because obviously there's probably worries, food-wise. I've heard people that come back overseas, like they get sick with the food. Somehow water sometimes is not always the same. From what I hear, I don't know about these programs specifically, but I know people that travel all the time and they get sick from food or just drinking water in different countries, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, so what kind of research did you do to prepare to go?
Yeah, I think UW, so like the safety, I'm trying to remember the name of their jobs, but the people who help students going abroad with safety were really helpful. We had a meeting with them, and then our professors were really helpful about making sure that we felt supported, giving us a lot of resources before we went about just what it would be like living in Italy for 2 weeks and what to expect. And then on a personal side, I will say I have traveled by myself quite a bit for my age, I would say quite a bit. And I've been to a lot of the country by myself specifically, and some of Europe as well. So I was, to be honest, a little more worried about, I was more worried traveling with people than traveling alone. Okay. Not because of anybody in particular, just because I am pretty introverted. So it's kind of, and I have spent a lot of time just figuring out how to navigate cities on my own. So kind of reorienting. But I think like through the past experience I've had with the support we had from our professors and from UW, I really wasn't ever that worried about adjusting. And there definitely are plenty of places around the world where Americans go and do get sick a lot for a variety of reasons. But Italy, I mean, of course, you can get food poisoning in any city.
Anywhere, right, yeah.
But it is, less likely than other places.
Well, I mean, I say that because it's kind of like you don't really know what to expect.
Yeah.
And at the same time, it's kind of like, I don't know if, since we don't know, like, what expectations can we even imagine?
Yeah,
is the thing. Because it's like, we're going with the school. And I think we're going to get it now into, like, more detail of your experience there. It's kind of like, what did a day look like? Like, once you got there? Like, what did it look like? Did it look like here? Like, oh, we got to get up and go to class or stuff like that is what I mean.
Yeah. I mean, it did really depend based on the day. Most days we would meet around 9 a.m. And sometimes we would meet at the UW Rome Center, which, if you're unaware, UW has basically a campus in Rome, a small campus, but a campus nonetheless in Rome. So we would meet there in a classroom and go over course materials for the day or week, catch up on some readings, discuss assigned films or shows that we had to watch. And almost every day that we were there, save for the weekends, we had an outing of some kind. So sometimes it was a museum, sometimes it was a tour of a neighborhood, a tour of a really famous attraction, like the Colosseum or something like that. So it could look like a lot of different things, but usually we would meet at 9 a.m. or around 9 a.m. and then do an outing every day. Okay,
that was part of the class, like going on a specific outing.
Yeah.
What does like sleeping arrangements look like? You walked around to take the bus. Well, then free time. What does that look like? You have to rent a car, catch an Uber per se. How does that? all of that stuff work?
I'll only speak for my program because I think it really depends on all the different factors. But for us, there were 13 of us students in total, and they split us up by gender. So there were 7 of us girls who were in one apartment, and it was an apartment with 3 bedrooms. So I roomed with 2 other girls. We all had twin beds. We all shared a room. Honestly, I was really nervous about sharing a room with people who, by the time we went to go live there, I'd only known them 2 weeks. We'd spent about a total of like an hour together. But that ended up being not an issue at all. They were great. I think we worked really well as, dorm mates, I guess. And then in terms of transportation, getting around, we got, I believe it was 30 bus passes, bus/metro train passes, that you would validate at the bus or at the train. And they were part of the cost of our tuition.
Okay. And then once you run out, I assume.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, Rome is such a walkable city that I took the bus quite a lot, and I didn't run out of passes. I think I still had about 5-10 left over by the time we were done. So there were about 3 buses that would take us from our apartment that was about a mile away from the Rome Center. I would say most days I took the bus. Occasionally I would walk. I will say a little funny story. I did learn my lesson the hard way. Rome there's a joke, people call it a fine city because it is a beautiful city, but the double entendre is that you get a fine for doing anything there. And we were all on the bus, and it was really cramped, and being Americans and very worried about other people's personal space, we didn't want to push and shove to get to the machine to validate our tickets. And I was like, okay, well, at the next stop people get off, we'll just go do it, whatever. Before we knew it, we were almost at our stop, and the 2 stops before we were about to get off, the fare inspectors came on and gave us all, I think there were 6 of us on the bus, and they gave 5 of us a 60-70 euro fine. And I tried to talk to them and explain to them we're really sorry, we weren't trying to blah blah blah. So I will just say as a small anecdote, and it was our first day too, so we were all just flustered, and it was raining. Yeah, lesson learned. So I didn't play about that ever again. So I pushed and shoved.
I wonder if that's why my grandparents were always yelling all the time,
Are they Italian?
I feel like there's no way that they would just take that.
Yeah. No, I mean, I tried, but yeah, you learn your lesson. But anyways, yeah, lots of busing. I didn't take Ubers too many times. I did, I had a day when I had to be at the airport at 4 a.m, and I was like, okay, I'm not going to take an hour and a half, 2 hours worth of transit to get out to the airport.
Yeah.
That just doesn't feel quite right. But for the most part, I felt safe, so I just walked a lot, took the bus a lot. You, for the most part, really don't need Ubers, in my opinion, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the 2 things? One, I wish for you to share with us. One thing, I guess, that you saw with the program that's part of the course, right, for them that they took you to, learned about, whatever, in Rome. And then what about one thing that you saw on your own, on your free time, that kind of stayed with you, that you brought back with you like that?
We did a tour of Trastevere, which is a neighborhood in Rome in the kind of west side of the city, where a lot of history is taking place. And we did a tour of that area, and it was kind of a general tour, a religious history, all kinds of stuff. And we just saw so much of the city in that hour and a half. And we visited the Jewish neighborhood where a lot of really horrific things took place there in the 1940s. And our tour guide was just so passionate and thoughtful and caring about the way he presented all of it, but that information in particular. And I think that, those 15 minutes or so we spent in that area really will stick with me. And if I'd been by myself, that very likely, I'm really into history. History is one of my minors. That would have probably been something I would have, tried to go do on my own, but that's just something you don't get, reading a Wikipedia article and looking up and saying, oh, there's that thing. It's not the same as, a Roman saying, this is what happened. This was a really dark day. And like explaining that history to you. And then something that wasn't in the program.
Yeah, something you did on your own. Like you escaped. You made your escape and wanted to see this one thing.
I mean, lots of things, but I guess the first thing that comes to mind is my roommates and I, our first day before we even checked in to our housing, we went on a long walk along the Tiber River and just kind of got lost. Like we walked so far that we ran out of a path to walk on. And it was just a really lovely way to get to know my roommates. And then that path ended up being a place that we actually talked about on that tour I mentioned before. It was just a really lovely, beautiful moment. And I just loved, like walking around by myself too. And really, I mean, Rome is just such a beautiful city, and especially at night, it's like a fantasy world almost. So,
but
yeah. It was really great.
What did you do that you would do here? What did you incorporate in your routine from here, just being at home over there with you? Like a Netflix or something, or something like that? How did the technology work for you there? I mean,
I worked.
Did you keep up with the Seahawks that are doing great this year?
Well, yeah. So not as much as I would like to. I was gone. I also will say, in terms of things I did by myself, I did go to Ireland for 10 days before Rome. So that was a big, that was a big thing.
Too.
So in total, it was 26 days.
You had a trip.
I did have a trip. I also went to Albania one of the weekends, which was
there you go.
A trip in and of itself. But that being said, as you can imagine, with a 8 and 9 hour time difference, it was really, really hard to keep up with the Seahawks. And I caught, bits and pieces of a couple NFL games total while I was gone. I think one Seahawks game I was able to tune into for a little bit. But most of the games were at, 2 a.m. and I had class at 9. So I'm going to be a responsible student.
Go to bed.
And not watch the Seahawks because they'll be there when I get back. But yeah, in terms of technology, brought my laptop, of course. I had work for our job that I was doing, so that was like still part of my normal routine. Attended the meetings virtually on Zoom at 8:30 or 9:30 p.m. my time. And yeah, I mean, watched shows here and there when I could. I will say probably the hardest part of my trip was that I got sick 3 different times. Which I ended up finding out I had a sinus infection and it went untreated. Not on purpose, it just is what it is.
You were too fascinated, just ignored your body.
Well, honestly, kind of. That is kind of what happened. I mean, you're like, oh, I have a cold. That's not that bad.
But this is
oh,
rad.
I have a cold and it's worse. But the Coliseum, I have a cold and it's really bad. Okay, well, now it's time for me to go home. So, yeah, I mean, definitely tried to still implement parts of my daily routine, and I did have what I described to my roommate as my like iPad baby time before I fall asleep, like playing my little games or whatever. Did have some issues with my phone, but once you get that solved, it's all good. Yeah.
Okay. Now for the fun part, money. How does that work? The whole financial aid of it all of it is awesome if it was all free, right? Regardless, but how does that work? Is there like financial aid, scholarship? How did you work all that out?
So you can apply for financial aid just baseline in the same way that you would operate it in any other quarter, and then there are some additional like grants and scholarships you can look into. The base fee of the program, I don't know how much we want to get into numbers, but it is kind of hard to like quantify because it's 12 credits versus 15. But like I said in the piece, I ultimately didn't end up paying much more for this quarter, including the trip, than I would for a regular quarter just here at UWT. And now it's 12 credits versus 15, but you're also getting 2 weeks in Italy. So
yeah. Did the financial aid give like a stipend or something for students to spend other than like the bus passes? Or is that money like you had to budget with your extra money or something?
I mean, some of it is covered in your tuition, like the bus pass. I would say day in, day out. That's like the piece of your life technical piece of your life that you don't have to worry about.
Food.
But yeah, food, like you, for the most part, have to pay for yourself. Okay. Those things you have to sort, like...
There's no mess hall.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, you have to sort, like, your phone, all that kind of stuff. But travel insurance is taken care of with your, like, program fee you're paying and things like that.
Yeah, from what I was reading, I remember that you had to pay for your plane ticket.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So you had to pay for all the commuting, pretty much what you had to pay for.
Yeah, that part is not included.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Do I dare ask how much it all was?
So, well, I'm wondering, is it if so you didn't have food covered, you didn't have travel covered, except for the bus passes, but and then you didn't have. So, but what were they charging you more for?
I mean...
Other than just the normal, like, school's tuition. Because that's what I'm kind of...
Yeah, just paying for the classes, yeah.
You're paying for the classes, and then it's, like, also school just being operated in Rome, if that makes sense. So when you look at your tuition breakdown here at home, you'll get, like, all the small fees that rack up. It's kind of like that, but shifted over into a different program. So it is expensive. Like, it is more expensive. However, I do want to note, like I talked about, it is much more accessible for the average student than like a full 1 quarter, 1 semester, 2 quarter program.
Yeah, because they're all different. Some of them will last the whole quarter.
Yeah.
Some of them I've heard that they did one in Hawaii for like 10 days or something like that. Yeah.
They'll do ones that are just like spring break, for example, sometimes. It is, so yeah, I will say it is more affordable than one of the like really long-term, especially like exchange programs can get really expensive. But yeah, I mean, it's still not cheap. I will say that. This is not something I would do every year.
School's not cheap.
Yeah, no, school's not cheap in general. Period,
so, yeah. But this is a whole different country.
Yeah.
Going there. So yeah, I mean the flights. I mean, I don't know. That's probably a reason I stopped from going to. It's kind of like, whoa, can I bounce back from that? Like, I don't know if I can.
No.
And I felt guilty too because like I'm not taking my kids, I'm not taking my wife. I was like, do I want to go on this trip just by myself? Like it'd be crazy.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
But yeah, I don't know. It's but from what it sounds like, you had a great experience. Regardless of anything like that, it was really worth it. What's something that you would say to the student kind of like on the fence? That's like, yeah, no, maybe,
It's tough because I think finances are such a huge barrier for so many students. But if that is something that you have sorted or know you can get sorted, just think about like, you're never going to be in college studying, hopefully, the thing you're passionate about and maybe able to apply that to learning about that topic in a place that's completely new to you. And I just think that's really valuable. I think, like, no matter what amount of time, whether it be 2 weeks or 2 years that you go abroad to study, like, it does change you in some way or another. I mean, I just wrote, one of my final essays was basically, like, here's how it changed me. And connecting it to our course materials. But if you have the like feeling, okay, this might be something I want to do, just give it turn in an application or two, see what kind of feedback you get. Honestly, I don't know the exact breakdown of how competitive certain programs are. I think it really depends, but it really is just worth a shot. Like, the applications aren't really too long. I think it's just like give yourself a shot.
Just, I mean, if you're thinking about it, if the students are thinking about it, they should just go to the Office of Global Affairs and
have a conversation.
I think I should mention they don't let running start students participate in the program. I think I assume why you got to be 18 at least. You got to be an adult.
Yeah, like, it adds a lot of complication
to be able to go.
17.
Yeah, be 17 in Rome, and I don't know if the school wants to be responsible for that.
No, I mean they don't really want to be responsible for us anyways. So yeah, definitely not. I don't mean that in a mean way. I just mean like they don't want us.
We're not
getting into some
children,
sketchy situation.
Right. Supposed to be like responsible adults.
Exactly.
In a different country.
Yeah.
Be responsible here. No. Not somewhere else. No.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think that's it. I think you convinced them. What do you think?
I don't know. Maybe. I mean, I just
you hope so?
I hope so. Yeah. If it's something you want to do, think about it. I mean, traveling, if you're able, is like one of the greatest. For a lot of people, is like the greatest thing they'll ever do, and for me, is like one of the greatest things I've ever done. And yeah, I mean, I don't think you'll come back a worse person, or a less interesting person, or a less like cool person. So
it'd be weird just come back all depressed. I just went to Rome, man.
It sucks. It's so ugly. The food was
just come
horrible.
back all depressed.
Yeah,
that'd be weird.
No. Yeah.
No, I'm sure. You heard it here, guys.
If you have the inkling, just give it a try.
For sure.
Goodbye.
Adios.